Hi, everybody, and welcome. It's time for a minute to skim it. I just got back from Comics Pro. Sorry if my voice is a little bit shaky. I had a really great time talking to a lot of people about what's new in comic books, what to expect for comic books coming up. If you wanted to hear all about those books and get the down low on all of them so you can start adding them to your local comic shops, pull us. On Sunday, we did about a 2.5 hour live show with some extra special guests, and we had some creators in the chat, some publishers in the chat. So that was an extra special event for us. And yeah, it's been a kind of an exciting time. You guys are in for a treat for what's coming up soon. And just like usual, every single week seems to be there's a different kind of new hot book. So let's see if any of these ones I'm about to show you are going to tickle your fancy. We'll see you right after this. Everybody, I see everyone over in the chat. I see Barlord's here and Triple B. Super happy to see you. What's so different is that because I was with producer Kyle this weekend, he put the actual back end of StreamYard on my computer, so it looks totally different to me. At first, when I had it on there, I was like, I don't know if I can handle this. I like things to be the same. My technology, I like to be the same every single time, but I can handle it. It looks the same to you guys, and that's all that matters. Let's talk about new comics this week. There's some really great stuff. Ooh, Iron Man. Okay. Let's see. And this is a really cool cover. What you learned last week, or last month, sorry, whenever the last issue of Iron Man came out, is that okay, well, the surprise thing is that we had so many people add it to their pull box, because I feel like the run of Iron Man before this one didn't move the needle for people, but this is really cool. This is I'm excited that a lot of people added it to their pull and they're getting back into Iron Man. This is kind of an interesting twist, because when last we saw Tony, he was still working out the last of his relationship with Emma Frost, and that was real love. And I guess now that's over, because what the issue number 1 did was basically say that Tony was putting together a whole big bunch of super smart people from all different parts of the scientific universe in order to find the new Tony, I guess. I don't know if he's went to retired out or what the purpose was, but the thing that you catch on to is that, you know, that bad girl, Madame Mask, when last we saw her, I think she was messing around with the whole Venom thing. She was one of the possibilities for who was wearing the Venom symbiote, along with Luke Cage, MJ. I can't remember who the other person was. That people were all excited about. Well, this one starts out with him kind of canoodling with her. It feels like very much there's some other kind of game that's being played here. There is still that through story of them trying to find or create the new Iron Man, but also Tony says he's worried that idea of being, like when he was stuck in the cave and had to make his own thing, he's afraid that it wasn't something special about him being able to do it. There are other people that could have done that thing, and he's worried that someone has. So I think maybe he's trying to definitely secure like a good version of that instead of a bad version of that occurring, someone just showing up with super armor. So this one was still interesting to me. I'm still I like the through line for this one. Although I will say I was with the rest of the group that didn't really care for the whole like Roxxon Corporation storyline of the last run. This is much better, and it does seem to be much more tied into all of the other things going on in the Marvel universe, which, you know, I am a sucker for a good mythos or myth arc where it touches the whole universe, and this one's doing that. So excited for what's next. Murder drones. Okay, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be real about this. I got to the end of my reading list, which is what we're on right now. And I was like, you know what? I know this is based in some cool video game or online world that is hecka popular. Wyatt Kennedy knows what they're doing, but I don't know the source material for this. But I was assured, I actually got called by Oni Press or sent a message from Oni Press saying that, like, despite the fact that you yourself might not know what this is, because I'm not really deep into the gaming. Are you any of you guys gaming or online and know what Murder Drones is? It's tied to this property that they assured me was going to bring a whole bunch of people into the store that we might not see usually. Kind of the way whenever the Naruto Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out, we didn't have anybody add that to their pull box, but we had a ton of people come in the front door looking for it because, you know, comic books wasn't their first thing, but it got them in to think about them. So this one looks gorgeous. It's exactly like the front cover here. It looks very much like it's a video game. And it's very, the plan is definitely these things versus people. So I don't know. They're too cute to worry about, but I'm sure they would be very murdery, and I would not survive. So, Murder drones. All right, I concur. Barlord. This is my favorite read of the week. Is Ted okay? From Mad Cave. All the stuff in this art and otherwise is by Dave Chisholm, which robots versus people are too real. Yeah, I guess so. But they're so cute, Jay. All right. Is Ted okay? Is a book that is tailor-made for people that love great art. If you like Absolute Martian Manhunter because of the art style, in which different art styles that you're looking at kind of give you like an insight into what part of the story you're reading, what point of view, all those things. This one definitely has two distinct kind of like art styles. Ted is a worker at a company, one of three that's been assigned to, I can't remember her name, but her entire job is to sit and watch these three workers all the time. Watch them for two things. There's only two things they're watching for. One, for homicidal tendencies, or two, suicidal tendencies, and then report them to the corporation, I guess. But the twist is that Ted is a real weird cat. We probably all have one of these real weird cats in our life. They're kind of off to themselves. They don't interact very well with like people on a regular basis. They kind of like have their own way to go about them. Delightful people. Just people are hard to read for whether they're happy or sad. Ted's like this. The only thing that Ted interacts with is a kitty cat that's a stray in the alleyway. I'm the weird cat in my life too, Jay. No one knows what to think of me either. And he spends time doing video games. So the twist in this book is really cool because although she's supposed to be watching him, her internal dialogue is like, I think this is ridiculous because it kind of feels like they should make sure that I'm okay first. Right? So the inference is she's also not having a good mental time. And there's a bunch of cool twists that happen in here. The art is terrific, as I said. But the way they draw him is disconcerting. Like on purpose, drawing them to look like not quite right. Like nose a little bit off, her eyes a little bizarre. It kind of looks like the spread cover, except for it's less on fire. And yeah, I'll let you enjoy the back half of the book, in which things get real twisty. So if you like twists that are like, oh, I don't know what is going on now, but I am totally down for this ride, definitely add this to your pull boxes, or at least pick it up this week to give it a chance, because I think it's stellar storytelling, and not like anything probably you've ever read before. Listen to Chris Condon. So Barlord says Chris Condon shouted this out before FOC, and that's why I added it. I think this book came out a couple of weeks ago. Somehow it ended up not arriving to us until this week. So I apologize if you guys already own this, and I'm not don't need to talk you up on it. But this is from AMP Comics, and our good friend Kaylin Smith, who you might know from her work on Plume, which was her own property. But House of Lothar, I think that I got a little ashcan version of this at New York Comic Con probably 4 or 5 years ago. We've sold out of them since then. And it was still this black and white version. So if you like, if you can't see grayscale, which I know that there's someone that watches our shows that can't see grayscale or black and whites, this is going to, I'll just pre-warn you that it's all this kind of scale, which I really love because I'm a child of the 90s comic books, in which, you know, black and white was the way to go. So this is all about this main character here who shows up for a job at this facility. Think there's a little like questioning at the beginning whether it's a prison or you know, a spa or what it is. You like check yourself in for mental health day, but she gets hired and told, like, here's your floor. You get floor C, I think it is, and you're responsible for cleaning all the rooms and the hallways, but you can't ever be in the rooms when the person who's in the room is in it. You can't be nosy. Don't look at their stuff. Don't do all those kinds of things. Just do your cleaning, lady, and do it as fast as you can, because the faster you clean everything, the more sleep you get. So I guess they also live in the facility. But there's a big twist about who the people are that are in this facility. I know that you will really like the twist. From AMP, reminds me how jealous I am. You got to pick with William Catt. I actually got to talk with William also. He was a very lovely gentleman. He's enjoying time with his grandkids, and he also is part of a jazz band. So if you want to know some inside stuff about William Catt, he definitely is older than he was in the show. But this is like a greatest American hero for everybody that is from a different generation. A delightful, delightful show about a guy who happens upon a suit that gives him some superpowers, and he is a real big klutz. And so he just accidentally solves things, but he's got.
I don't know if Miss Jen still can't hear
Jay,
me.
can you actually talk?
I don't
We've been
know.
having a hard time having Jay's voice come through.
Hopefully,
I can't hear him.
If folks in the chat can hear me, let me know.
Friend.
But
he probably knows all the stuff. Just type in the chat.
He finds these
aliens. You're gonna have to do it today.
He's given a suit.
So anyway, to get back to the House of Lothar, it's a really awesome twist that it is, especially if you like, for example, A Good Boy by Garrett Gunn, but not violent. I'm trying to think of other things I've read, like Feral or Stray Cats or any of those kinds of things. You like that kind of gorgeous art, then this would be your kind of jam. Oh, that's right. He loses the directions to the suit. Oh, so you guys can hear Jay and I can't. Well, if I see your little thing pop up, Jay, I'll just hush until it goes away. The theme song was the best. True story. Last year, I got to moderate the panel for AMP. And although William Catt wasn't there, I'm sure he'll be here this year. They announced that they were going to do this series then. And it was the first time they ever said it. So I was like so excited about it. I actually started the song thinking everybody in the panel room would continue on. And it was crickets, like the wrong generation, I guess. Or maybe I caught them off guard. All right. Look at it. That's right. This is a predator bloodshed. This is an interesting premise. So in this book, there is we'll just call it an island because that kind of is the way that it feels, where rich people go to watch other humans beat each other up for money or whatever, entertainment. The people that are doing this battling seem like they're there, like on their own volition, but once they're there, they're not allowed to go. Death is a possibility, but these all seem to be up to the challenge. And because the rich people that like watching these battles really love to see kind of like more than just like human action, a lot of the people that are fighters have kind of started to do some upgrades to themselves. So think robotic kind of like arm stuff or metal spine things that seem like they're give them some kind of advantage. And you can imagine if there is a regular meeting of people that battle to become the champion of something, that, I don't know, some predator might hear about it and be like, ooh, we're the opponents. So I guess there's no real spoiler in this that a predator is going to show up. So if you like predators kicking butt. Okay. There's a lot of backstory to give you for this one, so I apologize. It's going to take me a little while to get through all of this. So, in the past, Peter Parker has had a black symbiote on him, which I think is what we're going to see in the newest movie that's coming out. They're actually going to give us that time period in which Peter Parker had the black symbiote. It was not bad for him. It just made him off, right? He had to get rid of it because it didn't work for him. And that's when it left him and went and locked on to Eddie Brock, which was a much better fit, who became Venom. Now, in the movies, he seemed to be a good guy, but in the books, he's usually been a bad guy. And then you have the crazy symbiote Carnage, who likes to definitely be as murdery as possible, although Venom does like to eat brains. That symbiote used to be on Cletus Cassidy, and he's not now. Here's the crazy changeover. So Venom's symbiote is on Mary Jane now. And spoiler alert, they cannot be separated from each other because Mary Jane cannot live, like she will die without the support of the symbiote. And Eddie Brock has Carnage, and they've made this kind of like pact in which they will only go and kill murdery people. So bad guys only. Even though Carnage is always trying to talk Eddie into like, but there's other things to eat out here. We should eat all of things. Why are we only eating the things that are sassy? We want more all of Brooklyn. So all of that background is kind of being told, and they're interacting in this book. It's kind of cool. That all happens in the top panels. But in the bottom panel that runs across the bottom of every single page, every panel bottom has the announcement of someone who has died. So like the first one it talks about actually is 2 panels wide. A gentleman is riding a ride-on lawnmower, and has a heart event and falls down off of it, and the lawnmower makes a spiral, pew, 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 until it runs over here. Okay? So it goes through all of these different, like, death. And that all pays off at the end for the why they're telling us about all these little, like, unconnected deaths. But start paying attention to the who is dying, even though they look like just like a regular old guy. Pay attention to names and all that kind of stuff. I'm telling you, that'll pay off for you. Not more symbiotes, but I will tell you there has been a symbiote that has shown up that is going to be important going forward. And in this case, you see him like on top of Reed Richards' head. He's like a little kind of like, if you were going to draw a symbiote that was permanently done by Scotty Young, that's what he looks like. I forgot his name. He has a really cute name, but you're going to start seeing him a lot. And then you will see at the very end of the book what this character is. That's the kind of the white thing there, and that's where you get your Death Spiral storyline starting. So this is all to say, if you were paying attention to any title in the Spider Universe, Spider-Man, Venom, any of those things, this has payoffs for like, you're wondering where's Dylan Brock? Who's Dylan Brock staying with? Where is Mary Jane still with her guy Paul? All of those things. If you care about all those dramas, you will get all of it in this book. If Carnage eats Paul, all is forgiven. Paul's not a bad dude. He's got a nice man pony. He looks nice. Did he do something bad? I don't remember Paul doing bad things. All right, here we go. Universal Monsters. Universal Monsters has been time and time again the most amazing of storylines. And this is Tyler Boss tackling Phantom of the Opera. Now, I don't know the story of Phantom of the Opera. I've never seen the play or the musical. And so I apologize if all of this stuff is part of the storyline. But I will tell you, it doesn't matter whether you know anything about it. This is the most gorgeously drawn book I have seen in for so long. It is all exactly this art here, where it is really like just painting after painting of gorgeous art. What it looks like to me, this is my just guessing at what's going on. It introduces a woman who's getting ready to go on to a stage for some kind of thing. I don't know if it's a musical or a play or whatever. And something catastrophic happens. And then the rest of the book is kind of like this, like people that are part of the theater, the guy who's trying to investigate stuff. It just kind of like jumps around all these cool characters. And I'm sure it's all going to go. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, Robert Englund. Very cool. So what this does tell me is I probably need to like watch Phantom of the Opera at some point. Trust me, don't send me letters like, oh, how dare you not have watched the Phantom of the Opera. It's not because I think I'll hate it. It's just like the reason why it took me like all of my life to watch Casablanca. I just never had any time to do it. My problem is I'll go over to my giant thing of movies and get distracted by things like Die Hard or Tombstone very easily. So dumb as dirt. Yeah. Dumb as dirt. That's my new thing to say. Dumb as dirt. All right. I'm going to turn that down so that doesn't happen again. That's really loud. That's it. Oh, Hyde Street. So I realize now that I have not been reading the main Hyde Street universe stuff, but I did read Sisterhood. And this one has a really big tie to Sisterhood, where it definitely, the main character is the main woman from Sisterhood and her dead sister, who's the Dove, and a bunch of cool magic dark stuff. And it keeps on referring to other characters that are part of the universe, I think, from Devour. And then I don't know if you remember like that kid that has like the spirally eyes. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Sorry. I'm anti-emu. Oh no. Yep, that's true. Not anti-emu. They're adorable, but they are dumb. That was from my friends that raised them. That's what they call them. They said dumb as dirt. And I believe them because they raised them for lots of years. So anyway, this one is a great part of the Ghost Machine universe, all very dark. I feel like there's going to be more additions to this universe of scary stories. I feel like they just told us about another one, and my brain is stopping about it, so I apologize. But if you have not started Ghost Machine anything, please start reading all of this wonderful stuff from Jeff Johns and all of the other creators of this universe. They're so good. Threads of Destiny. This is a Star Trek Deviations one-shot storyline, which is perfectly timed since we're in Black History Week, or Black History Week month. Sorry, I don't know why I said week. So this one takes Uhura and puts her in a time jump where she ends up back during the civil rights period time. She gets not mistaken for, but she looks a lot like another civil rights person. And she meets that person's brother, who knows that she's not them. But he rescues her out of an awkward situation. There's also Martin Luther King in this book. So if you like Star Trek book storylines where they travel back in time and experience what it was really like to be there, this is a beautiful, beautiful book. And I really like this one. TJ's here, Barlord, Corey. Everybody's here today.
Okay, y'all. Miss Jen can't hear me. I know y'all can. Hello to everyone just joining. YouTube is
If you guys
still counting me as spam.
say to yourself, why is it Jen, react to Jay? Somehow I can't hear Jay today.
So hello, everyone.
It's the most bizarre thing ever.
If I haven't said hello to you.
I'm ready for the next. All right, Rocketeer Island. This is classic Rocketeer. Just straight up classic Rocketeer. Oh, I'm going to see if I can tell you who other characters are that are part of this. Sorry, my head is so full of stuff right now. What's so cool about this is the first person on the book title is Dave Stevens. So there is a really dope Dave Stevens cover out there that's impossible to find. But should you be able to, you should hunt it down. Okay. So in this book, there is like an air show that he is performing in. And another plane comes and kind of like dangerously comes near him when he's doing some of his tricks. And he gets a little bit irritated about that, but it ends up being Amelia Earhart. So how are you going to get really very mad? Probably not. And I'm trying to remember what else big happens there. Oh, this is what's so cool about this one. There are other characters that are kind of from that era that I don't think have ever shown up in anything that is from Rocketeer. So imagine a universe in which Popeye also exists in this storyline, drawn a little bit like Popeye would normally be, but more like to match the style of the regular Rocketeer stuff that's in here. And then Tintin is also in this. So the way that they're introduced to the story and the way they are part of the story all makes sense. They do, I promise. But, I mean, I just thought it was very clever. It's like if you're going to have people appear in your book, why not choose, the most famous pilot of all time, and then you're going to have a sailor, why not Popeye? All right. Superman, the end is nigh. So I missed last week's reads. So I feel like I'm missing a thing. So I will tell you that I'll be fully saying I think that that's true. It appears that right now Superman is no more, but I don't understand what happened. It also appears that Doomsday believes himself, his origin is Krypton, believes himself to have been his whole purpose to take on Darkseid, which I guess would be awesome because we're not doing so good in the whole DCKO thing. But there is a character that is definitely Superman related that shows up on the last couple of pages here that I don't remember have been introduced as part of the DCKO. Like how they kind of like, we're like, yeah, when we can have any version of ourselves from any time, place, or whatever, there's someone that shows up that, you might have their first appearance in your books because their first appearance isn't all that hard to find, but you will be real happy about seeing them. They might be the key to everything, honestly. I have to think about it really hard about, I think the story they were in originally, they were the key to that story too. So I'm very interested. If you guys are still following on with DCKO, soon will be DCKO number 5, which according to everyone that I've talked to in the whole industry will set the world on fire. So I hope you've been into it or nothing else. If you're not going to read anything else, at least read that because that's the key to Snyder's next big arc which is Next Level is what it's called. So it's still, this is like beginning of phase 2 for All In. Still All In, still Snyderverse, and that is what's next. So enjoy. Brutal Dark. All right, this is the second book, I think, released in the Vertigo line. This one is Chris Condon and Jacob Phillips. So you can be assured that it's going to be some crime noir looking stuff. And it is. It's a mature reader book. So I have to like refresh my memory about how this all starts. Oh, that's right. Okay, so for people that love, for people of fans of Indiana Jones or National Treasure or those kinds of things where they show at the very opening of a book people figuring out a way to open up some kind of secret vault, crypt thing, and find a very specific object. And then you know that the rest of the book is going to be about like they move forward in time, like everyone's going to be trying to find this object, right? So in this case, it's the Anvil of Hephaestus. I think that's right. Let me make sure. Anvil of Hephaestus. Oh, my brain remembered things. Excellent. So this one is really cool because when they find it, there's actually some stuff that's there to kind of defend it or protect it or whatever. I will let you figure that out yourself. But then it becomes just a cool crime noir shoot 'em up where people are fighting for power and looking for this object, and also for there's someone that gets killed for like a briefcase. Maybe that's got this information about where to find it. So Vertigo is just an offshoot line from DC, and it's not its own shared universe, correct? So Unknown. It has always been its own thing. So, for example, Vertigo is where you got Sandman and John Constantine and those kinds of books. Fable. So they don't have any real attachment to the main universe, but also there's nothing stopping some of those characters from appearing in the other books. They do that some. But yeah, think about DC Vertigo being the very darkest corner of any DC possible world. There are not like superheroes part of Vertigo. This is way different stuff. So if you get like cool, trippy stuff like those other ones I mentioned, then you're going to like what's coming out from these. I've read the first two and I'm loving them. Orangutan. Oh no. Monkey paws. All right. I think I answered that the turkey is a little dry. Oh my word. All right. Here's another book that I started reading and realized that it is something I need to spend some time with. It's a big old thick book. It is not quite a prestige format, but this one is a perfect primer for anybody that has wanted to touch onto the old Milestone storylines. That's going to be like Static, Lightning, and all of those characters. They're all in this book. This one says it's the Dakota incident, which from what I can tell seems like the very beginning of the book, one of the characters gets caught up in some kind of, I don't know, it feels like a time thing, but maybe it's not a time thing. But it's a 100% like connected to every single character you see on the cover there. All of the stuff from Milestone, they're all in the book. So if you've ever wanted to learn something about the Milestone characters and how they're related to each other, because it feels 100% like everyone's an aunt or an uncle or a nephew or something of each other. That's how they refer to each other. So I thought it was cool superhero stuff. All right. Absolute Wonder Woman. I can't remember if the last issue introduced this character that's on the front cover. This is Giganta. She's gigantic. But the reason you want to read this book specifically is just like all other absolutes, they like to introduce new abilities / powers for Wonder Woman herself. So in this case, you actually get to see her use the magic part of her stuff, which it makes sense because this little book series, the subtitle is Witch something. Hold up. I will tell you what it's called. Season of the Witch. In the last issue, you had Zatanna show up and essentially take control over Diana's magic powers, which is, she was not having that. So you've got that going on. The Zatanna thing is still part of this. But then you also have the Shikanta. And the power-ups in this are so cool. It's like, just imagine, you know, like when you watch those kaiju movies where the first 5 rounds, they're just like punching each other. And then all of a sudden they're like, what? I remember I've got this sword in my arm, stabby, stabby. And then, oh yeah, I can become a giant version of myself. All of those kinds of things. You're like, oh, why did they just use that the first time? But it's okay. I like the boop, 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 boop of this book. Very cool. It's not, it might be the season of Witch. You're right. All right. Martian Manhunter. I think I might have figured something out here. Okay. So just so that you know what's happened so far. So you've got the Martian Manhunter there, which is the normal, the green version that John sees. Only he sees. And he has kind of fessed up to his wife that he sees this green Martian. The problem is that green Martian in the last issue got captured and is currently in this issue being disemboweled. I don't know. And instead, all of a sudden has popped up in John's brain another version who is kind of weird and blue. And he has another whole purpose, this other alien. And then you also know that there's the white alien that's out there. Well, here's the crazy thing. John shows up for what he's been told is a session that's trying to save his marriage with his wife. And it's supposed to be with him, with that and his son. But when he gets there, it's just his wife and their therapist, which it really feels very one-sided. The therapist's not there to help him at all. But it almost is like, they call that like an intervention when you're like, oh, you have lost your mind and you seem dangerous because you're a cop and you carry a gun. So maybe we need to take care of you. But then you start like, you know how all the book is like, he can, because of the green Martian, see everybody's thoughts. That's part of the art style, right? That kind of like they get these cool multicolored things that are coming out of their heads. He can see what everyone's thinking, which is kind of helpful, I guess, if you're a cop. But in this one, there's other, like, because of this other Martian, it looks very, very different. Extremely different. And there's so many other cool things that happen in here. It's so interesting because when I try to explain, you know, Absolute Martian Manhunter to people when they're like, wanting to pick up the very beginning of the story. They're like, well, what is it about? And I don't have a really good focus for them. I'm like, this is a head trip. It's 100% a head trip. I mean, like, all you need to know is that John sees this green Martian and there's other stuff going on. But you also think to yourself every single issue, is it really just in John's head? Is that it? Are we going to get to the 12th issue and it's going to be like a wrap up that like you've been mind screwed? I don't think so. I think it's going to really, really mean something. But yeah, this is some of the most fun reading that there is in comic books right now. Okay, and Punisher. I know that you guys have been having a fun time reading the Red Band Punisher and the Marvel Knights Punisher. I've been reading Marvel Knights, but I haven't been reading Red Band because I didn't want to like open up people's comic books and have them not get to do it. But what's cool about this Punisher is that they do say in the whole like lead in parts of the story, they're like, definitely you should be reading the Red Band Punisher. It'll get you what you need to know about what's going on in this. But I will get you a little bit started anyway. Punisher was being controlled by Kingpin. He had put something in his head. It was kind of driving him like a bus. He couldn't do anything about it. Was it fantastic? I believe it. And this is him admitting that he's like dug whatever that was out of his head, but it kind of messed him up. Like there is something that's on the fritz about him. He still doesn't, like it's not like a control issue. He doesn't have control over his own body. Like he sometimes just has like, we'll just call them like mini strokes or something. But he's trying real hard to figure out what's next for him and avoid, getting killed in the process. But this one also addresses the big vacuum of power that has now occurred, in which you don't have Kingpin around and Tombstone's in jail, and there's a huge twist for who is behind everything and is going to try to take over and fill the void for being the new Kingpin, I guess. And I think you'll like who it is. I think you will like the twist in this book. And if you ever wanted to jump in a Punisher and you didn't know where really to do it, Ben Percy is writing the stuff of his life. So definitely try it out from here. I've given you all you need to know to get into it. You don't need to know anything else except for, Punisher likes to punish. Yeah, I think they have figured out that people like the Frank Castle. Okay, also, there are some cool graphic novels that are coming out this week. There is a very awesome manga, Cyberpunk. We've been selling the Cyberpunk graphic novels like crazy. So I think that looks amazing. If you were waiting for the graphic novel for Dan Panosian's The Last Boy from Boom Studios, this week is your week. I feel like I can't say enough cool things about Mark Millar's Huck. This is that second big series of his where Huck is looking for love. Hopefully he found it. And then as part of the One World Under Doom storylines that we just wrapped up, which are still, all the Doom stuff's continuing, by the way. So don't just think that was a hard finish. There are things that are still going on, even in books I read today that mentioned them. This one is Superior Avengers tie-in graphic novel, and then Doom's Division. Also, Daredevil, Cold Day in Heck by Charles Soule. It says Matt Murdock is no longer Daredevil, but he's still the man without fear. By the way, we found out something pretty cool. DC brought Frank Miller and Klaus Janson to do like a talk to tell us things at the Comics Pro that they didn't have never talked about before, or maybe have talked about very little. But they did mention is during an in Dark Knight Returns, I think number 2, page something, there is a panel in which there is a man with a cane walking away. And it was verified by Klaus that it is definitely Daredevil. Sorry, definitely not legally Daredevil. Don't quote me on that. Legally not. They did it on the DC panel, so they must have gotten permission. Also, Across the Massiverse, Volume 2 is going to be available this week. Superman Unlimited, Volume 1, part of the All-In universe. Everyone's been waiting for this goodie, Mr. Terrific Year 1. Batman and Robin, part of the All-In universe. Get Frank to finish Hush 2. Still faster than Lee. That's so funny. And then Johnny Quest, Time Flies, Joe Casey. I'm sure there's more stuff. There's like really big Facsimile Secret Origins Supervillains. It's coming up this week also. And just a fly on the wall told me that Nectar, that's releasing next week, is going to be the next big dollar book. Like, it's already at $30 or $40 online. So if you can add that to your pull box ahead of them being sold out, you can try. Page 9, panel 3. I think that's right. So maybe everybody knows. And I did not know that before. So, all right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining with us. Make sure you connect with your local comic shop and tell them which of these books you want to definitely add to your poll. If you tell them tonight, they might be able to pull them in time for you to just pick them up in the morning, and that would be really cool. But if you do not have anywhere to buy books, I do right after this show, a show where I offer these books for you. But I prefer you to do it at your local comic shop if possible. And then after that, you can kick it with Henri. He's always super high energy, and you might get to see his puppy dog and maybe a couple of his kids. They're always a lot of fun when they come to the show. I expect at some point they're going to be running the show, and he's just going to be hanging out. But thank you so much for showing up on Sunday night when we had our pop-up show. Since I couldn't do it on Saturday, I was busy doing crazy other stuff. And I hope it was useful for you guys. If you want to know any information about all of the heads up for books that are going to be hot and what they're about, just rewatch that Sunday night show. For every book I showed, I told you what the book was about, as long as I could remember. There were a couple of them I don't know if they told us anything, so gave you all the spoilers. All right, everybody, thank you so much for being here. I will see you in about 12 if you're coming along for the next ride. And if not, I'll see you next week.